Chapter 28. Panzer stood in the middle of the aisle and did a complete 360. There were a lot of hiding places, and he didn't want to search them all. He decided to check the table at the other end of the aisle. He quickly lifted the sheet. There was no one under the table. Panzer turned and saw a sheet-covered ladder a few feet away. Duke could easily hide under there. Panzer lifted the sheet. Nothing. And then something struck the back of his head. He turned and saw a brick falling to the floor. He looked up and saw Duke at the other end of the aisle holding another brick. He threw it at the giant, but Panzer dodged. "Here I come," he told Duke, smiling as evil a smile as he could manage. He wanted to scare the little man before he killed him. Duke turned and ran away. Panzer limped after him. As soon as he reached the end of the aisle, something smashed into his face. He fell on his back, close to passing out. Feeling so helpless angered him more than anything. He looked up through blurry eyes and saw little Scout holding that damn sledgehammer. With help from Duke, they raised it and then dropped it on Panzer's stomach. He felt an explosion of pain before he passed out. Scout tried to open the door, but the handle was gone. "Is this really how doors work?" she asked angrily. "Yes, Scout. Handles are important to doors. How do we get out?" Scout looked up toward the ceiling. It had many missing tiles, and she could see the rafters above. "Let's Jurassic Park this bitch," she suggested. Duke looked up, and then back to her. Then he smiled. They pulled up a ladder and climbed. "Stay on the beams," Scout said as they headed through the maze of steel and insulation. "What gave you this idea?" Duke asked. He was already breathing heavily. "Garth. I think this is how he got the body out of the bathroom earlier. He must have used the ceilings to keep Cody's body out of sight. Taylor and I found Dante tied up in Panzer's room. He said he saw Panzer dump Cody's body in that pit." "Gross. Did you see it too?" Most of the ceiling consisted of tiles, so Scout couldn't tell where they were in the wing. She and Duke simply followed the paths. "No, there were too many other bodies in there." She shivered. "Besides, I think Panzer covered Cody's body with cement or something." She stopped talking when she heard a noise below them. It sounded like something falling to the floor. "Panzer?" she whispered to Duke. He shrugged. "I keep expecting a velociraptor to pop up." A hand shot through one of the tiles a few feet in front of them, followed by a yellow, muscular forearm. "There's your raptor," Scout shouted as she carefully headed away from Panzer's grasp. The hand disappeared. "Oh shit, we're being attacked by a superhero," Duke yelled. "Where the fuck is he now?" Another tile shot up, and Panzer's head and massive shoulders appeared. "Right here," he said with a maniacal grin as he reached for Duke. Duke kicked at his face, but Panzer managed to grab his ankle and squeeze. Duke screamed in pain as Scout crawled over and started poking at Panzer's face. She was trying to poke his eyes, but he kept dodging from side to side. Duke used the distraction to kick Panzer with his other foot. The kick got the giant in his already broken nose. He screamed and let go of Duke's ankle. His scream quickly faded away before coming to an abrupt stop. Scout carefully leaned over the broken tile and saw the body-filled pit she'd fallen into earlier. Panzer lay face down in that pit, his blue cape covering him like a sheet. "I think he's dead," she told Duke. Suddenly, Panzer groaned. "Help me," he said quietly. Duke scoffed. "He must be fucking joking." Panzer started to let out a low cry that slowly built to a fierce, anguished cry. I can't move. I broke my fucking neck. Help me. Scout covered her ears. She couldn't stand the sound of his panicked screams. She could tell Panzer wasn't faking it. He could easily get out of that pit if he wanted to. If only Jaren were here, she told Duke. He would put Panzer out of his misery. Garth, please don't do this, Taylor said as she walked slowly toward him. Stay back, Taylor. I failed to do what I came here to do. I don't want to live anymore. He reached inside and touched something that looked like a black light switch. A fail-safe, maybe, in case the phone detonators didn't work. Before he could flick it, Taylor dropped to his side so that they were touching shoulders. If you flip that switch, we both die. Garth's finger was still on the switch, but he didn't flip it. What are you doing, you crazy woman? I don't want you to die, she said into his neck. I came here to kill Cassandra Fairchild. You can't possibly think I'm a good guy. What you did was wrong. You know that, right? He didn't reply at first. Then he said, Yes, I know. And you know you did it for the wrong reasons? He didn't reply. Your mom wouldn't want this, Garth. You can't possibly think that. Panzer manipulated you into coming here for whatever reason. He's the real villain, not Fairchild. Taylor told him all this without looking at him. She could feel his body tremble as he started to cry. I know, he finally said. I never told you why I tried to kill myself, Taylor suddenly said. I was afraid of being alone. My girlfriend broke up with me and my family abandoned me. I was all alone, Garth. I didn't see the point in living. You know what saved me? No. I found out someone cared about me. Someone wanted me to live. I wasn't just living for myself. I was living for her. I want you to live, Garth. A horribly long moment passed, and no one moved. Then Garth pulled a green wire that was attached to the diode. The bomb is harmless now, he said. Thank you, Taylor.